All right, how's it going? And after a little mass shooting psyop, which I know a lot of you all probably don't watch the news. I don't really watch the news that much. There's certain channels that I do follow, but to be honest with you, ever since the Israel Palestine thing kicked off, I've kind of went away from watching a lot of the channels that I normally watch. A lot of them tend to be more Christian oriented channels that I've had to kind of take a break from. I used to like watching Pastor Charles Lawson go out and give a really, really solid sermon. But ever since the Palestinian Israel stuff kicked off, I've actually kind of stopped watching a lot of the stuff that's on YouTube, particularly the Christian content that I used to watch. And the reason why is because a lot of the shit tends to be superficial. So a couple of weeks ago, probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago, um, watching college football, and all of a sudden, right in the middle of one of the biggest games of the year, which is Texas versus Oklahoma, all of a sudden this big escalation starts to happen. How's it going, Will? Over there in Israel, with the Palestinians and the Israel people and shit's going down. The Israelis are pissed off at Gaza and they're pissed off at fucking Hamas and all the bullshit that really at the end of the day, a lot of people don't have a lot of information about, and you're not going to get a lot of information about it. Um, you know, uh, uh, you see a lot of the shit, and it's the same thing with any kind of thing that's going on with the proxy government over there, or a satellite government in the Ukraine. And we can see a consistency here. And that's the sheer fact that the Democrats are trying to start World War III. I mean, right now they don't have enough control to do so. At this point in time, both sides are kind of risking their reputation. And they're really trying to push this global war going down. And they figured the best way to do it is they're not getting enough support over there in the Ukraine. Well, let's go into Israel because we'll get the Christians to go ahead and just blindly, me, myself included, being a Christian, we're supposed to blindly go in there and support this because the Jews are the chosen people, according to every Zionist out there. But with that being said, how are they God's chosen people? That's one question that I would have to ask all of these Zionists. What makes the people that claim to be Jewish today, and I'm not talking about your old school Abrahams and your old school Jacobs and all these people that were in the Bible that were Hebrews that we totally fucking understand that God pulled them out of Egypt and they were the chosen people. How are today the society that is what you would consider Jewish? They wouldn't even call Jewish back then. They were called Hebrews back then because of before Judah. But with that being said, how are these so-called people that claim to be Jews, how are they God's chosen people? That's one thing that I really, really want to know, because ultimately you're trying to go ahead and drive a wedge between everybody else, which is what you always do, and you want us to go ahead and discriminately go out there and genocide a whole fucking population of people that have lived there their entire lives. You want to take away their livelihoods, and you want America to go ahead and invest in this. So, with that being said, with them Zionists over there, it's like, oh, you have everybody on Twitter. And like I said, everybody on Twitter, I don't really trust hardly anybody on Twitter, hardly anybody. All of y'all really, at the end of the day, if you're coming across this on Twitter, you all look fake. A lot of y'all are puppet accounts. A lot of y'all are sock accounts. That's why it's so easy for me to jump in, say something, I'll piss you off on Twitter, and then jump right off. So, that's all Twitter. Twitter's reduced to nothing but fucking fear mongering, clickbaiting, grifting, superficial reactions and shit that people have to this dinosaur legacy mainstream media that really a large portion of the population don't watch. A lot of your shit, a lot of your polls, a lot of your 100% of Americans agree with this. They're absolutely fucking useless at the end of the day, because nobody has you don't have a real good track record. You don't have a good pull to pull something from a general consensus standpoint. And it's the same thing with this war. Because right now, what our leadership is trying to tell us is that we should go ahead and we should just go ahead and invest and back Israel because they're our ally. They're our ally. To be honest with you, I find myself having more in common with the Muslim, really, at the end of the day, than I do a Jewish person. Because first off, Jewish people tend to lead a more secluded life. They have their little Jewish communities. They really look at all of us as goyim. If you want to go ahead and be honest with it, oh, they call the Muslims goyim. Yeah, they call us fucking goyim too. All right. At least I can go and have a conversation. Me and a fucking Muslim can go watch a football game together or go watch a basketball game together. You know what I'm saying? I'll have more in common with the Muslim guy than I will with any of the people that are practicing Judaism. Now, you go ahead and take in consideration, right, that these Muslims are not the ones kicking you off of these channels on Facebook. They're not the ADLU. They are not the SPLC. They're not the ones creating these little, defamation law centers and shit that gets you restricted on the internet. They're not the ones sitting there trying to go ahead and take away constitutional rights. The Muslims aren't doing that. The Muslims, they have their own little theocracy. Guess what? Israel is a theocracy too, because you have to be a practicing Jew. You have to be an Orthodox Jew to live in Israel. So how is that not a theocracy? And then you go ahead and take in consideration that the Talmud definitely has a far less appealing view of Jesus than the Muslims hold Jesus in high regard. That star is not the Star of David. It's the Star of Remphan. It's Moloch. You know what I'm saying? So whenever you're going out there and you're saying that these people are descended from Abraham and they're Abraham's seed and that's why they're God's chosen people and that's why they're in Israel, that's what the Zionists will tell you. Well, how many descendants do you need to be descended from Abraham? Is it just one? Is it just one? Because if I have two parents, right, and then my parents have two parents, which means I have four grandparents, and my grandparents have parents of their own, which means I have 8 great-great-grandparents, and so on and so forth, back through the generations. It's almost fucking impossible for me to, hey, what's up, Summer? Mike Brown. But, yeah, it's almost impossible for you not to be descended from Abraham. You know what I'm saying? They're not special at all. They are not sitting here. I thought it was the seed of the Canaanites. And you're probably be closer to right, but at the same time, whenever you start mixing all these races and these, they start mixing together, it's hard to tell. What do you think that what do these fucking Jews take a 23andMe? Oh, yuck, he's a Jew. We can go ahead. No, that's not how it works. It's not how it works at all. So to sit there and say that, oh, this specific bloodline is somehow connected to Abraham and we need to go to war and genocide a whole group of people because supposedly this land belongs to these people here who are fucking worshiping the Star of Remphan that sit there and study the Talmud, the same ones that say that Jesus is boiling in a vat of excrement and fucking hell and shit. I'd pretty much just rather go ahead, sit down. I know that the Muslim guy shows up to work. He works because I've had, people that worked under me. I was a supervisor. I'm still a supervisor, but the last place that I worked at that I was a supervisor, I've had Muslim guys. I've never had a problem with them. Come in, work hard, really smart guys, stuff like that. Very dependable. Always showed up to work on time, doing the work and whatnot. They were always there. They were very, very dependable. I get along a lot better than people who are arrogant that think that they're my parent or whatnot, that they should have total control and authority over me. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, it's nothing. I'm not sitting there saying that we should exterminate the fucking Jews. I'm not fucking, oh, he's anti-Semite. I'm only being real. Whenever you bring these people in as a host and you think about it, right? Look at Israel. What's the homosexual capital of the world? It's not San Francisco, believe it or not. It's Tel Aviv. You already know that whenever you're going out there in a country surrounded by Muslims, by Muslim countries and whatnot, that they don't agree with homosexuality. You already know this. You should take a little bit of precaution, at least show a little bit of respect for your neighbors and stuff. You don't have to be so flamboyant. And this is why a lot of people don't like the Democrats. This is why a lot of people don't like leftists. This is why a lot of the people don't like the current product coming out of college, is because they are so flamboyant and in your face and outrageous and overboard with the shit. You know what I'm saying? You could still have respect for the shit. You could still go ahead and support the shit, but not be so openly flamboyant and annoying about it. Where you go ahead and take over a whole month and say it's Gay Pride Month and then make everything homosexual, transgender, or gay. Do you know what I'm saying? And you should start to think about that shit whenever Israel needs to be better neighbors to the people around them. You know what I'm saying? Because it's always some bullshit. It's always something stupid like this right here. And ultimately, what's going to end up happening, they're not going to go to war. The people that are trying to go ahead and rebel rouse you, they're not going to go to war. They're not going to be the ones fighting this war. At the end of the day, they're going to demand one of your relatives, somebody that fight it. The people that start the shit, I say I say we just go ahead and start yeeting each other's politician. Okay, Palestinians, here's what you do. You go ahead, take Hamas, you fire them into Israel in a yeet cannon. And then Israel, what you do is you take Netanyahu and you fire his ass in a yeet cannon. And then America can drop a Clinton here and a Biden there. We'll just go ahead and start using our fucking politicians that start the shit as the fucking cannon fodder. And we'll see if these wars don't eventually stop whenever that starts to happen more and more. Because the shit is absolutely fucking insane. At first it was Ukraine, and we need to go into Russia, and we need to have a war with Russia, and we need to get into China. Nobody can work anything out diplomatically anymore. Does this make any fucking sense? Why we're still having to go to war? The rest of us here on the internet get along pretty well. I don't have a problem with any of the fucking Jewish people that I'm friends with on the internet, or, whether they're Jewish or, prior Jewish, they still have the same kind of mindset. I don't have any problem with them. It's hard to really connect with them a little bit more, but I guarantee you I don't have a fucking problem with any of the Muslims that I know. A lot of us like sports. And a lot of us like going to games. So I don't want anything to happen to the people that I know that have relatives in Iran. And I don't want anything to happen with the people that I know who have relatives in Israel and whatnot. Yeah, your dad is Jewish, huh? Well, and it's like I said, it's a whole different mindset, because since Judaism isn't really a religion, it's more of an indoctrination. It's more of a, new age type of mentality and stuff, where it's like, manifestation. There's a lot of shit to Judaism, to be honest with you. And, it's just really kind of hard to make a really, really good, solid connection with people that practice Judaism. It really is. Because the shit that they're concentrated on, and the shit that they're focused on, and the shit that's important to them is definitely not the same kind of shit that's important to me. And so, and a lot of the shit that, I consider that Judaism is more of a form of, and it's really kind of that concept that is materialism, essentially. That's what it is. It's materialism to the core, because you notice that all these people who end up, becoming Jewish, they really become superficial and materialistic. They have this, everything is like this, totally OCD type of fucking structure that you have to do, requirements and shit that you have to do. And, it's kind of really just hard to make a connection with that. And, I don't have anything against them. I mean, there's a place for them in society, but at the same point in time, they're not the, they're not the, what scriptures, what Jesus was referring to. They're not the Jews. You know what I'm saying? They're not the God's chosen people at all. Say no. One is the same team anymore. No one is the same team. And yeah, it's like it's all fucking changed. So, yeah, that's what it is. They're really kind of like materialistic, so it's kind of harder for me to get with them whenever I can bullshit with the damn Muslim guy that I work with, and, He was a Houston fan just like you, as a matter of fact, Stephen Rose. He's a Houston Texans fan, and I used to troll his ass. And used to troll his ass. Actually, he came back and worked with me up here too for a little while. So he didn't. He didn't only work for me over there at the last place I worked. He ended up working at this company that I work for too. Um, George Takake is crying, and see, this is the issue too, and this is the issue that I really, 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 really don't like, because even though that this isn't what Scott's talking about, the left is going the extreme opposite way. They're going out and I'm sorry, Palestinians, I have nothing against you, but whenever you have the left advocating for you, that's not a good thing, especially in this country, because they're stupid for the most part. Anybody that's on the Democrat side, they're dumb. And so they're just going to say tacky shit, annoy people, and then they get people frustrated because they are so stupid. And having the left advocate for the Palestinians, which by all means, I'm totally 110% with them. I don't agree with whatever the fuck this Hamas group is doing. But as I said before, this shit should have been settled no more than 2 or 3 days after your fucking, which I believe a lot of it is a psychological operation. I really do. Because they're kidnapping people. This is according to the people that are on Twitter, because they're all fucking shills and will never tell you the truth. They just make up shit. It's all a media narrative. But whenever you sit there and you see, okay, if you're a real military strategist, right, and you're trying to go ahead and make your point, and you're trying to go ahead and kidnap people and hold them captive, you're not going to take videos marching them in some sort of field of these random locations where people, oh, I know where that field is. Those people have lived there forever, and they're going to recognize the landscape and the scenery and shit like that. You're going to take a video of them. It's going to be in a dungeon somewhere, not marching anywhere. But as I said before, even if this was the case and they were doing videos, they should have used the Starlink system that the left claimed that Elon Musk should have used for the Ukrainian war. They could have easily used that to go ahead, locate, pinpoint the areas that these Hamas people were putting out, and then you could have targeted those specific areas and limited even more damage, and it would be over. The conflict would be over because you would be able to go ahead, track down, find every... If it would have been one of us, they would have definitely demanded using that shit, to be honest with you. So now I'm not I'm not really on board. I lean more towards the less actual position of y'all should just leave Palestine the fuck alone. Y'all were the ones to implement Hamas in the first place. It was y'all that put in Hamas. And this ends up being the same old song and dance. And why are we even, at this point in time, why do we even have government? Why do we even have a government if this is what we're going to get? If you can't do better than this shit, then we just need to go ahead, take your ass out, take out these people who've been put in this position and just replace you. Because clearly we can't allow you to keep on escalating shit to this level, to the level where we're fixing to hit 5 years. We're going to have at least 4 more years, because I'm not exactly sure where we're at right now whenever I was officially making the claim, but there's going to be at least 4 more years of inflation. 4 more years. Now, to what degree of inflation, I don't know. Is it going to be 8% over the 4 years? I guess it could be. Could it be, 3 years at, 16% or something? I don't know what it's going to be and at the level, but you're going to still have more inflation because they've inflated the economy. There's no telling how much the arbitrary tax that, and mind you that Biden is not the most popular president, regardless of what the media will tell you. He's not the most popular president. He didn't even win the fucking vote. That's why they can't get shit done. That's why their fucking military is an absolute joke. He didn't actually win the vote, and I don't give a shit what anybody on Twitter says. I don't give a fuck what the DeSantis people say. They know at the end of the day, the media have to keep on repeating the same fucking bullshit, the same dialogue. This is why nobody watches you, by the way. But you have to keep repeating the same dialogue because nobody's going to buy the shit. And you have to keep on repeating the same old fucking talking points. I wouldn't even vote for Trump this year. If the election, I'm not even going to vote in the election. I have no fucking dog in this fight. I have no reason to fucking lie to you. But I can tell you right now that fucking Joe Biden didn't beat Donald Trump. especially by the damn numbers that you're giving, that would be impossible. Because you say that there's 37 million registered Republicans. You're saying there's 49 million registered Democrats, which I don't believe at all. And then you're saying there's 34 million registered independents. If you take 37 million away from that 74, 233, like 395, whatever votes fuck Trump got, you take that 37 million of Republicans, that means he won 37 million independent votes. There's not enough fucking votes out there outstanding for Biden to win by the margin that he wanted. This means that Biden didn't win. That's what that means. That means that the election was fake, that the election was rigged, and at this point in time, you should have done an investigation, you should have cleaned it out. But now, at this point in time, since so many people have went ahead, made videos, debating a lot of the fucking shit that's been going on mainstream, you're no longer, you can't claim ignorance anymore. You can't claim ignorance. It's guilt. You were guilty at this point in time. With all the shit that you've tried to cover up and went out of the way and got my channel deleted over shit that I was saying on my channel, whenever this shit comes to light and you're found guilty, and this will eventually have to happen because we can't allow you to go ahead and continue running these operations like this. You're about to get us into World War III. You're starting, what is it? It was Ukraine and Russia, it's China and Taiwan, it's Turkey and the Armenia, it's fucking Israel and it's Israel and Palestine. We can't allow this shit to continue like this. It's an absolute joke. It's an absolute joke to think that you people should be in the positions that you're in. You shouldn't be allowed to be in these positions at all. And this includes the media. And this includes all those little administrators on these little social media sites that believe that they need to go ahead and put up some little fucking Wikipedia article by some third-party source, an arbitrary source. The same people that administrate, that do the video monitoring, that says, oh, well, we're going to have to take this context down because it's, it could be harmful and it could be damaging and you're questioning our official narrative and it's causing panic. No, absolutely fucking not. You can no longer you can't claim innocence anymore. You cannot claim innocence. You can't. You are contributing to the problem. You're escalating these situations to where now, pretty fucking soon, I'm more than willing to really let it last until 2024 and to see if they can't really go ahead and replace a lot of this shit under Trump. I can tell you one thing, we're not going to hear no more Russian fucking hacking bullshit from the mainstream media. You'll be lucky if you're not fucking prosecuted under USC 18241 and 242, which is exactly what needs to be going on right now. Nobody has any confidence in the mainstream media. There's only about 1% of the damn population even reacting to your shit on Twitter. 1%. Actually, no, it's not even 1%. It's only 1%. That 1% of the 1% that Bernie Sanders likes to sit there and talk about all the time. That's what you're looking at right now. So, with that being said, it's an absolute mess. I'm not going to go ahead and justify anything that Hamas is doing, but I'm certainly not going to sit there and jump on board with the fucking Israel government saying, and the Zionists on their little fucking soapboxes saying that they need to go ahead and, genocide all of fucking Palestine because that's fucking stupid. That's fucking dumb. So, I'm not going to agree with Hamas, but like I said, this shit should have been dealt with. Israeli is supposed to have the best Israeli special forces in the world, and you didn't know anything about this? You didn't know this was going to happen? You didn't allow it to happen? Nah, at some point in time, y'all are going to be having to y'all are either going to have to be replaced. Personally, myself, now, this isn't a popular, opinion amongst my fucking contemporaries here, to be honest with you. Most of them believe, most of the people right now that are independents, that are fucking, looking at this from a neutral position, whether they're a fucking normie or whether they are an independent that is just frustrated with the systems that are going on today. A lot of them, 100% military guys, old school veterans, maybe even some people that fucking Stephen Rose knows. They believe you need to be executed. That's what I keep hearing a lot of, to be honest with you. Now, me, myself, I believe in exile because personally, you've stolen so much from this country. You've done so much harm for this country. You've done so much to attack everybody's personal, finances and wealth and all this other stuff. And you've done so much to go ahead and, keep everything stagnant where you get to hoard all this money. I absolutely don't believe that you need to be put to death. I believe that you need to be exiled, and then we'll go ahead and give the Democrats exactly what the fuck you want. I'm more than willing to give you fucking shills exactly what you want. You don't want constitutional rights. You want gun-free zones, except for military, right? Ain't that what you say? Oh, only military and police officers need to have these guns and shit like that after every one of these little fucking false flag bullshit things that you give us. You already have your scripts ready to go, and oh, this is it. Nobody's buying that shit neither. You want your gun-free zones. You want your free universal health care. You want to go ahead and have free housing. You want to go ahead and have free food. You want to have free access to all this other fucking shit. Well, congratulations. I'm totally fucking prepared to give you the shit. We will exile you to fucking Greenland or Antarctica or somewhere like that. We will go ahead and make these warehouses, and you will work forced labor, 6 to 5 days a week, 12-hour days. You know what I'm saying? We can go ahead and talk about what the finishing punishment is. But the sheer fact is that we would have free production labor to go ahead, help lower the cost. We can go ahead and cut these income taxes. We can go ahead and make these economies work. We can go ahead and end up training a hell of a lot better with without a lot of y'all going ahead using your usury, which is another issue that I have with the Jewish community at large. Is you like to use a lot of this usury shit and inflate the interest and shit that you put on everybody and keep everybody in record debt all the time. I don't believe that's I don't believe that's biblical at all. But that's what y'all kind of like to do. And so I believe that with free production labor, down there in Antarctica and stuff, y'all can be a total fucking workforce down there in those in Antarctica, in Greenland or whatnot. And you can go ahead, help us go ahead and contribute something, contribute like free medicine. You can go ahead and manufacture medicine up there. You can go ahead and manufacture pens and papers and shit like that. You could just be a totally manufacturing base in exile in one of these other countries. That would be my solution. However, like I said, for the most part, most of my contemporaries just believe it just needs to be capital in nature. That's what they really believe. And so, whenever you get this lynch mob justice, it's not gonna. They're not gonna sit there and say, "Hey, wait a minute, what should we do with these people?" Oh yeah, let's go ahead and have a field. That's not how democracy works. That's not how actual democracy works. Actual democracy, you don't get due process, motherfucker. You don't get due process in an actual democracy. All you get is fucking strung up from the damn rafters like Mussolini. So yeah. Anyways, I figured I would go ahead, do a video, talk about the Israel Palestine situation, say why I'm not really in favor of Israel's position. They are acting like a bunch of authoritarians. A lot of their neighbors seem to have issues with Israel. I don't have to worry about Israel because I live here in the United States, so it doesn't really affect me so much, except for the fact that we can't get a lot of the manufacturing shit that we get from like Ukraine and Israel, and every time they start one of this bullshit fucking proxy wars that they try to start all the time. So, it really makes you wonder, why the fuck are we paying taxes? What are we paying taxes on? You know what I'm saying? To keep these wars going all the time? Is that what we're paying taxes for? For you to go ahead and create another PSYOP so you can go out there, oh, these people need to take away your right to own guns because some crazy nutbag went out there, according to our media sources, and shot somebody. And that's what y'all always fucking whine about and shit. Nobody takes you seriously. We're just remember that whenever you go out and do these stupid, ridiculous mainstream media fucking antics and you put on these little fucking crocodiles and you start to do the shit, nobody is everybody on the other side of the screen is laughing at you. All right, we're not taking you seriously. It doesn't matter how many times gun control now. that you fucking do. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit about your fucking media, about your little positions. A lot of you Hollywood people can't even get, interest out. Yeah, the Barbie movie, right? That sold a billion. That sold a billion. That's all I see at fucking Walmart. Whenever I go looking for the Oppenheimer DVD, all I see is Barbie shit everywhere. Because I thought it made $1 billion in theaters. So nobody's taking your shit seriously. And whenever it comes in, your lies look shady as fuck, people believe you less and less. And more people start to wake up. So, yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting. Are you buying into the war frenzy? Are you buying into the whole Israel, Palestine, Ukraine? And none of these people are joining the military, by the way. None of these people are going out and crying about the shit. You know what? Get off your Ben Shapiro. Get off the Daily Wire. Let Jeremy Boring find your fucking replacement, and then go fight for the Israelis if it bothers you that much. If you have an issue with Hamas and the Palestinians, go join the Israeli army. Don't sit there and say that we have to sit there and get behind Israel for some shit. We could barely take care of our fucking selves right now. And we're going to worry about Israel shit, or we're going to worry about Ukraine shit. It's absolutely a waste of time. So I ain't got any issue with any of the Palestinians. I don't know fuck all about Hamas. Hamas has done some good things. Hamas has probably done more to protect the Christians over there in the Muslim countries than than Israel has. You know what I'm saying? Because I was talking to my buddy Wadi, Jordini, that lives in Lebanon right now. And he said, yeah, it was a good thing whenever Iraq was, making their moves, that Hezbollah kind of drove them back because they didn't want the shit in their country. So they do more to protect Christians in those Muslim territories than the Jewish people do. So to me, it's a no-brainer, to be honest with you. I mean, it is what it is. Do I agree with them kidnapping innocent civilians? Fuck no, nobody does. Do I agree with Israel bombing, supposed locations and bombing into it? Absolutely fucking not. There's definitely better ways to do the shit, and you're not trying any of them. And this is, if it isn't just complete and utter fucking bullshit. Yeah, it was the fucking Democrats that got us into fucking World War I, World War II. They got us into Korea, Vietnam. They wanted to get us into World War III in the 60s. And that's why they lost all the fucking elections from the 70s all the way into the 90s, and would have gotten their ass kicked by George Sr. had fucking Ross Perot not getting the election. So, yeah, the fucking the cheap ass motherfuckers over there in media could sit there and talk about how the Republicans are warmongers and shit like that, but you motherfuckers have a longer history starting global conflicts than any fucking Republican does. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. I just figured I would go ahead and do this. I've been meaning to do this for about a week now. I didn't really want to do it whenever it eventually happened. I wanted to see if the shit would calm down. And, to be honest with you, I'm kind of happy where we're at right now, because you don't hear a lot of people talking about the shit, and that's kind of the way it needs to be. We need you in Washington, D.C. to go ahead and fix the problems. If you can't fix the problems, let us know that you can't fix the problems so we can go ahead and replace you. Because if we have to go in and replace you afterwards, and you have to be removed, then you're going to get that democracy that you wanted. And I don't think that you're going to like it too much. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. You people, tell me what you think. Like, sub, do the shit the internet tells me to do to get over. And for now, I'm out.